Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Milncraft here with the third and final Zerg challenge for getting to know your units. I'm just kind of queuing up things with the Infestor, watching him little waddle along. This is the Zerg, of course, and just to talk about their units real quick. These are the Zerglings, standard Zerg unit, very quick, especially on creep. It can deal a lot of damage and really good when they surround units. These are Hydralisks. Hydralisks are slow except when they're on creep. But they deal a lot of damage, and they're just really effective. They don't necessarily have that much health, though, so you got to make sure something else is taking the damage for them. And then these are Ultralisks, and these are huge armored bruisers that deal a lot of damage with their claws here, actually. They're Kaiser blades, rather. And we're going to go ahead and look at the opponents. These are Colossus. If you watched the last game, you saw those units in the last game. They deal a lot of damage. They deal a lot of splash damage. Mortals here are good against armored units, so you don't want to send the Immortals against the Ultralisks against them, and then Void Rays, which are flying units, which need to charge up, so they're good against bigger units. Well, we've only got one unit here, which is good against air, so we're going to go ahead and send the Hydralisks up against these guys, and then we're going to send the Infestor with them, actually. Yeah, I think the Ultralisks will do fine against the Colossus alone. As long as you keep the Ultralisks spread out, making sure they're not taking too much splash damage. The Infestor is going to minimize casualties by fungal growthing all of the Void Rays. Fungal growth deals 36 damage over 8 seconds to the unit, and immobilizes them, allowing the Hydralisks to kind of team up on them. Then we're going to send the Zerglings here and the Hydralisks, which are all not armored, so they don't take full damage from the Immortal. And the Hydralisks are just going to help with damage output against it, while the Zerglings take all of the hits, so that the Immortal doesn't, kill as many Zerglings. We don't really want that to happen. And then finally, we've got the Ultralisks. We're going to send the Ultralisks against the Colossus here. And we're going to make sure to try to keep the Ultralisks spread out. The way I'm going to do that, actually, is by burrowing. All my units come pre-evolved with burrow, so we're just going to separate all of the units and then burrow them all, and then once the Colossus walk past them, I'm going to unburrow them all and then just start attacking. And actually this guy can go ahead and leave up and have him just attack in from his side, because it takes a couple of seconds to unburrow for Ultralisks, so that's important. And we're going to go ahead and begin. So you got the Ultralisks here. I've got these three selected, and R is the hotkey for unburrow. It takes 2 seconds for Ultralisks because they're so big. So we're going to see the Colossus just kind of walk on over. And then we're just going to attack and then unburrow and have these guys engage as well. And they deal splash damage, so they will be dealing additional damage. Unfortunately, most of the Colossus are targeting one down, but it's not going to matter. I was able to get a good surround here, deal a lot of damage, and all my Ultralisks emerged unscathed. Now, normally you'd want your Zerglings to engage first because they're so cheap. However, Zerglings die in 2 hits to Immortals, so we're actually going to have the Hydralisks engage first, and we're going to do it on creep, because the Hydralisks are faster on creep, and then we're just going to micro the Hydralisks back. So he's going to open, and he's actually already changed his fire to the Zerglings, but it's not going to matter. He only killed 1, which is really not that big of a deal. Meanwhile, I've got the rest of the Hydralisks here, which we should probably split to each side, and then we've got the Infestor. Go ahead and spread these guys out. And then go ahead and fungal growth. You can see with red which of the units are fungal growthed. Actually, he's killing a decent amount of Hydralisks. We got to make sure to move the ones back, the ones that are hurt back, so that they lose as few as possible. And we did lose 4, but I think we'll be okay moving forward. Here we've got upgraded roaches. They've got burrow movement, so they can move while burrowed. Dun-dun, dun-dun. And we've got Mutalisks, Infestor, and then Ultralisks, which you've seen all of those before. We've got Zealots over here, light units. We've got Void Rays again over here, and then we've got Stalkers over here, which are armored units. Now, against Zealots, we want to use Roaches, and we're going to go ahead and send the Infestor as well, because the Infestor can use his fungal growth, and the fungal growth is really effective at immobilizing the Zealots, preventing them from dealing much damage against Roaches, and Roaches are already pretty good against Zealots anyway. We do want to make sure to get a good concave. against the Zealots, and then we actually do want the Infestor up close because he doesn't have that much range, and we want to make sure to immobilize the Zealots with our attacks. Against the Void Rays, we're going to use the only units other than the Infestor that we have to attack the air. And so we're going to send the Mutalists in. What we'll be doing is doing kind of hit and run tactics to prevent the Void Rays from being able to focus fire and charge up against these Mutalists. So we're going to like move in, attack, and then move out. And then 2 Ultralists up against the Stalkers. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to handle them just fine. And we're going to keep the Ultralists back too. We don't need to burrow this time because there's no splash damage, but we're going to let them move up onto the creep and then engage. And they're not going to kill the Spire, so it's not going to matter. And those guys are immobilized, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. They actually don't have charge. And we're going to just immobilize them again. Deal even more damage. And what you can do is you can actually individually burrow and then move back. If any of your roaches take any unusually high amount of damage, just go ahead and burrow them and move them back, and then you'll be fine. We were fine there. So here we've got the Mutalists. We're going to go ahead and put them together. I'm going to go ahead and engage. Oh, they actually did focus down the one that's injured. So you're going to try to fly the ones that are injured back. And they are fully charged up now, but there aren't that many Mutalists left, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. We should be able to take him out, no problem. And actually, we only have 2 Ultralists left, so considering that these Ultralists are... Oh, well, we do have one more round, so hopefully don't suffer too many losses in that round. I'm going to let those Stalkers just kind of group up, attacking the Spire. Ultralists deal splash damage. So you want to try to get him as close as possible. And actually this guy's getting a little injured, so I'm going to send him back. And then we should be able to take out the rest of these without any losses. And hopefully we don't suffer very many losses in round 3. If not, we'll just take the silver medal. And, you know, with enough repetitions, you'll be able to learn it well enough to do it on your own. Broodlords, you've seen those before. Corruptors, these are the old versions of Corruptors who, to use their corruption ability, they need energy. We have... and then the rest of the units you've seen. We have a couple of Mortals here, and then a bunch of Stalkers, all good against Armored. We got Archons here, which are good against Biological, which since we're Zerg is all of our stuff. And then we have Carriers here. Now, Carriers are actually pretty easy to deal with. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave a couple of our Corruptors, and the reason we're going to do that is because they have 200 energy, so we can go ahead and corrupt these Archons to deal the most damage to them. And the rest of these Corruptors should definitely be able to deal with the Carriers. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and send the Broodlords up against these units because Stalkers aren't terribly effective against Broodlords. Well, they are, as long as they target the Broodlords and not another unit. And then we have Zealots up here, so we're going to go ahead and send the Roaches up here. And we're going to send a couple, we're sending 3 Ultralists up here actually as well. 1 Ultralist over here. And we will actually, I think... send the Infestor this way, because I think this is what we'll suffer. Well, we probably won't suffer any losses up here, so just to make sure we turn out alright. Well... just to make sure we don't suffer any losses against the carriers, we can use Neural Parasite to grab control of one of the carriers. And looks like we should be good. And you see there that most of the Stalkers are actually just firing at the little broodlings. And and then the broodlings are in turn attacking all the little units. So actually, because of the AI, we probably won't have to deal very much with these units at all. In fact, I probably didn't even need to send the Ultralisk. It looks like the broodlords are able to handle it all on their own. I just wanted to make sure, because stalkers, if you blink forward, if someone, intelligence controlling them, and you blink forward, you're able to control them, take out the immortals, go ahead and send the rest up, then you just focus fire the broodlords. They can actually deal a decent amount of damage. But it looks like the rest of this is going to be cleaned up pretty nicely. Here we got to be a little bit careful. Want to kind of shield my units. Oop, got to be a little careful with those guys as well. Looks like we were able to take out all those guys, and we're going to go ahead and burrow the roaches that are injured. And actually some of these Ultralisks are taking a lot of damage, so you're going to barrel them as well. We've only taken one loss so far. Go ahead and focus fire the Archons, and then the Zealots should be easy to be able to take off. And the Corruption ability deals 20% extra damage for 30 seconds, so that's why I put those Corruptors over there to help deal damage to his units. And so that's why we're actually going to, when we send these Corruptors as well, we're going to go ahead and corrupt all 4 of these carriers, and then engage them as well. And then we're going to go ahead and Neuroparasite the last one that I engaged to attack. And then this one is actually under my control, and he's going to start firing at their units. Now I did lose 1 unit there. I actually can't lose any more, so I got to be very careful about this. Make sure not to lose any more units. And this one's still mine, so I can just focus fire it and just take it out without any losses. And we did in fact get the gold this time, so good work for me, I guess. I hope you guys do the same, and this is PGL Milncraft signing off. Thanks for watching.